Now this arises a problem in DNA replication. A bigger problem in DNA replication is with the supercoiling in the DNA. While we are opening the strands, we are separating the strands from each other, okay, circular chromosomes in E. coli, and as they are circular chromosomes, and as we are opening the strands from each other, the hydrogen bonds are broken and we are moving towards 5 to 3 prime of newly synthesizing strand. The upstream area, the upstream region of the DNA, the circular DNA, incur positive supercoils, and replication fork moves around 500 nucleotides per second, and at a 10 base pair per turn, replication fork rotates at 3000 rpm. These are some factors that you can remember. They can ask question like 500 nucleotide per second is the speed, 10 base pair per turn. So this is processivity or polymerization rate. Polymerization rate 10 base pair per turn, and 3000 rpm is the rotatability. Now this movement is continuous, and as a result of which further upstream will have supercoils, positive supercoils. এই যে পলিমারেজটা, এই পলিমারেজটার রোটেশন মানে কি, ওই যে বিটা ক্ল্যাম্পটা লোড করছে করে কন্টিনিউ মুভ করছে, সেই মুভমেন্টই হচ্ছে রোটেশন অফ ডিএনএ, মানে আনওয়াইন্ড হচ্ছে ডিএনএ। ওকে, সো দ্যাট ইজ দ্য রোটেশন অফ দ্য ফর্ক। ফর্কস মুভমেন্টই হচ্ছে ডিএনএ আনওয়াইন্ড করিয়ে মুভ করা, সো দ্যাট ইজ দ্য ফর্কস রোটেশনাল মুভমেন্ট। And this rotational movement can cause supercoil, positive supercoiling to the upstream of replication fork. So if this is a replication fork, this is the movement 5 prime to 3 prime, then the supercoiling will be done upstream of it. Positive supercoiling will be done, and the upstream positive supercoiling that is formed, it needs to be released, and who releases it? Topoisomerase. Topoisomerase enzyme can release these positive supercoils. Okay, it allows the DNA strand to continue the process of synthesis. In this picture you can see one example, realistic detail. So here you can see that this is realistic image. The same image is replicated in a schematic drawing. You see, this is somewhere this is where the replication origin lies, and the fork is created, is moving in this direction. 2 new strands of DNA is produced, and as it's moving, this is the fork, upstream of which unreplicated regions formed supercoil. So you need to release the supercoil. So what is the process of releasing this tension that is forming upstream of the replication fork? Either we can cut one of the strand of the DNA, okay, or we can cut both the strand of the DNA and religate it to release the supercoil. For example, if we cut it 1, 2, 3, 4 times and join 4 separate times, it will be released like this. This is the supercoil can be released, and that release can be done by topoisomerase enzymes. And there are types of topoisomerase: topoisomerase type 1 and topoisomerase type 2. This topoisomerase type 1 can insert a single cut in the strand, single strand in the DNA, and can rotate it around its axis, right? And topoisomerase type 2 cleaves both the strands of the DNA. Here in this slide we are going to discuss about the supercoiling and cleavage in the DNA. There are 2 different types of supercoil, the positive and negative supercoil. Positive supercoiling occurs when the right-handed helix twisted even tighter in the right-handed direction. A right-handed helix twisted in the right-handed direction is a positive supercoil. Okay, so here you can see this is a relaxed double closed circular DNA. This is where the opening is started, and you can see that this side is positive supercoiling, this side is negative supercoiling we are looking at. So basically if you look at this axis, this positive supercoil goes something like here, which is counterclockwise. See the supercoiling, see the arrow looks something like this, isn't it? This is counterclockwise. In negative supercoil, What we have? This. Clockwise turnings, clockwise negative supercoiling, counterclockwise positive supercoiling. Another way around, we can say a right-handed helix coiled right to form a knot, positive supercoil. But this is better way to understand. You can simply draw it by clockwise and anti-clockwise fashion and you can tell whether it's a positive or negative supercoil. Now if we relax the strand in the origin of replication and the relaxation is done in both the replication forks which are moving in opposite direction, it will cause supercoiling somewhere in the upstream. And the supercoiling that are formed, you can see this is another picture which states the supercoiling clockwise and anti-clockwise. Okay, this is clockwise for negative, anti-clockwise for positive. So this is how it looks like. So let's imagine the DNA is fixed to two solid surface. It's easy to understand now. If the DNA gets fixed in two solid surface, then what will happen? In this case we saw transcription in order to explain this, but the idea is the same. We are melting the DNA, unwinding is done. Due to the unwinding, further upstream, this is unwinding, further upstream, supercoil. This is when the negative supercoiling is done, because look at this, what is the direction of movement of RNA polymerase? This. So further upstream is forming positive supercoil, downstream is forming negative supercoil. So movement of polymerase means movement of any enzyme which separates the strands of DNA from each other always cause positive supercoil in the upstream and negative supercoil in the downstream. Okay. But in case of replication in E. coli, we also face the same problem. There is an upstream positive supercoil. We need to release this supercoil. Supercoiling and cleavage, and how it's done. Plectonym is the DNA which gets supercoiled or tangled DNA structure which is formed. That is the name only. So here you can see that this is the marking. So 1, this is 0, +1 +2 downstream, upstream, sorry. This will be upstream. We call it upstream, this is downstream. As per transcription rule, আমি যদি ইনিশিয়েশন সাইড ধরি, মানে আমি অনেক সময় যেরকম বললাম আপস্ট্রিম ডাউনস্ট্রিমের ইভেন্টটা, বাট ট্রাই টু আন্ডারস্ট্যান্ড, আই মে হ্যাভ ইউজ ডিফারেন্ট ওয়ে, বাট ট্রাই টু আন্ডারস্ট্যান্ড যেখান থেকে আমাদের ট্রান্সক্রিপশন শুরু হয়, দ্য স্টার্ট পয়েন্ট অফ ট্রান্সক্রিপশন ইজ নো জিরো, অ্যান্ড এনিথিং ফ্রম জিরো to the forward direction of transcript is known as downstream. Anything from 0 to the above or before head, that is upstream. That's how it's counted actually. এবার আমি যখন বলছিলাম আপস্ট্রিম অ্যাকচুয়ালি আপস্ট্রিম মানে যাওয়ার দিকের কথা বলছি, বাট অ্যাকচুয়ালি ইটস ডাউনস্ট্রিম মিন করার কথা। তো সেটা হয়তো মাথায় লাগবে, মানে ওই জিনিসটা গুলিও না, মানে আমি যখন এক্সপ্লেন করছি যে ফার্দার আপস্ট্রিমে হবে মানে কি, বেসিক্যালি ওয়েন আপ মানে ওয়ার আই সেড ইজ দ্য মুভমেন্ট ডিরেকশন হুইচ ইজ অ্যাকচুয়ালি ডাউনস্ট্রিম সাইড। নাও আই আন্ডারস্ট্যান্ড দ্যাট যে আমার পলিমারেজ, when the polymerase is moving in the direction, that is the downstream direction of. Upstream will have negative supercoil, downstream will also have positive supercoil. So positive supercoiling is done in the downstream elements. So here you can see in the downstream, the positive supercoil can be created, upstream negative supercoil can be created. Now there are two different type of topoisomerase, type 1 and type 2. Type 1 topoisomerase, what it does, you can see the difference between type 1 and type 2 topoisomerase. Type 1A and type 1B, they have little different job to do. Type 1B interacts to 0, means it both type 1 topoisomerase basically cleaves one single strand of the DNA. Type 2 topoisomerase is cleaved both the strands of the DNA. Type 1A cleaves it at a point associated to downstream one nucleotide, that is +1, and type 1B cleaves it to upstream one nucleotide site, that is -1. Because once it cleaves the DNA, means what, the phosphodiester bond is only broken, there is no gap. So this is what they are forming, they are forming a nick, they are not forming any gap. So the nick is basically created by type 1A with -1 nucleotide, 0 and -1 here, 0 and +1, sorry, and this one type 1B is created with -1 nucleotide. While in case of type 2A is again cleaving both the strands but with +1, and type 2B with -1. Okay, so B are those which are connected to the -1 side. The phosphodiester bond is broken and connected to the -1 side of the nucleotide, and A type 1 or B, whatever, type 1 or type 2, A type are cleaving +1 side. Okay. So this is how they actually looks like. So these are two bases connected with a phosphodiester bond, and this is the enzyme, the topoisomerase, with what hydroxyl group that is present. This phosphate attacks the phosphate, as a result of which it can connect to this phosphate. So what happens is that connected to this phosphate and this base is free. So the joint between the two bases by the phosphate is cleaved. Phosphodiester bond gets cleaved. By both type 1A and type 2, they cleave the same way. Type 1A and type 2, any kind of type 2, do the similar type of cut. Okay, of one single strand, if you measure, similar type of cut. But type B cuts a little differently, means type B cuts in a way that the base -1 here you can see at this moment. Type B here, so either say -1 or +1 depending upon your positioning of the base, that is connected to the topoisomerase and rest is free. So the color coding will state that type 1A or type 2, they will cleave and associate with the blue colored base containing nucleotide, while type 1B cuts blue and red gets separated from there. But the phosphate bond, you can see that it gets red with it, it gets blue with it. Okay, so type 2 and type 1A gets red bases with it, and type 1B gets blue bases with it. So basically, depending upon where they make the cut, this picture states the idea very clearly, and they will do the cut. While type 2 types required to cut both the strands. Remember, type 2 cuts twice, two different sides, okay, at the same time. Type 1 cuts only once, one side. So what is the role of topoisomerase? The type 1 reversibly cuts a single stranded double helix. They have both nuclease, that is the strand cutting, and ligase activity. They do not require any ATP. These are the three very important properties of type 1 DNA topoisomerase. Cuts only a single strand of a double helix. They has both nucleases, that is the nucleotide cleaving enzyme activity, ligase to join the nick, obviously, because in this case it's not likely they should cut. They should also, after releasing the tension, they should be able to join the strands. They do not require any ATP. While in type 2, so this is one example of type 1 topoisomerase activity, complete double stranded DNA without any cut. What we have else? Topoisomerase 1, this is topoisomerase with again hydroxyl that cuts the phosphate. You see, one associate one phosphate either with -1 or +1, depending upon that we have a nomenclature. Type 1A, type 1B, that based on that. And then what they will cause? They will cause a rotation either clockwise or counterclockwise depending upon the supercoiling. If the coiling is clockwise, it will do counterclockwise rotation. So once the tension is released, again religation is done. Religation done, topoisomerase gets released. This is how topoisomerase 1 works. What about topoisomerase type 2? Type 2 DNA topoisomerase binds tightly to DNA, double helix, and makes transient breaks in both the strands. And this requires ATP. This requires ATP. You can see this picture. This is a relaxed form, relaxed circular DNA. This is a supercoiled circular DNA, right? So these are the multiple, 2 times further coiling is done. And here what topoisomerase type 2 will do? It will cleave one of the strands, pass the other double strand completely through it, and it will ligate the strand. So basically after this cut, then it will look something like this. because that portion gets cleaved and released. Now further, if the topoisomerase works here, then it will form completely relaxed circular form of the DNA. So topoisomerase type 2, the example of such is known as DNA gyrase or gyrase, whatever you say. DNA gyrase, type 2 topoisomerase found in E. coli, they have the unusual property being able to introduce negative supercoil in the relaxed circular DNA using energy from the ATP hydrolysis. So gyrase performed in transcription while movement of polymerase causing formation of negative supercoils in upstream and positive supercoil in the downstream. So gyrase releases those negative supercoils in the upstream. So here you see how topoisomerases work. This is the example of how exactly DNA gyrase or topoisomerase type 2 work. This is the supercoiled state. This is topoisomerase type 2. Can easily cut the strands and transfer the other strands through it. It's sealed, right? Or if any time after the DNA replication, after the replication is complete, sometimes two strands of the DNA, they are entangled like this, known as catenated form of the DNA. Catenated form means basically we know this is the origin of replication, this is where they started, the process continues, and at the end they will have two circles of DNA attached in some point. So you need to cut one of the DNA, both the strands of one of the DNA, and then religate it. That can also be done by topoisomerase type 2. How they do that? You can see this is the double-stranded DNA. This is topoisomerase type 2, has two identical subunits. This is the active site. This is where the DNA is attached. This is like a molecular scissor. They cleaves it and then they get another segment. Let's call the earlier segment G segment and new segment T segment. So T segment is a segment from another chromosome, another DNA. Pass that through the G segment. It utilizes ATP hydrolysis, energy from ATP hydrolysis. Once that is done, then again they will release the strand. So this is a mechanism. They attach to the G segment, then brings T segment, cleaves the G segment, passes T segment and releases the G and T segment after the process is done. So you can see what is the function, like a molecular scissor and a molecular glue. So they have the function of exonuclease, endonuclease, not exo. Endonuclease, why? Because it can cleave the DNA from somewhere in the center. So endonuclease activity plus what they have, ligase activity. Now imagine a situation of a cell in E. coli, let's say, or any other bacteria. This topoisomerase, they cleaves the DNA, but the ligase activity is blocked. Then what will happen? The topoisomerase will turn into endonuclease because the ligase activity is blocked by some drug. If we use a drug that can prevent the ligase activity of topoisomerase, it will convert the topoisomerase into endonucleases, and that will cleave the DNA in bacteria. That can kill the bacteria. And there are specific antibiotics acting as this drug. This is another picture showing the same idea, that we have this red colored is a DNA strand, and basically this is why this picture is placed here, is to tell you that this topoisomerase 2 mediated DNA cleavage is targeted. There are locations where this topoisomerase 2 will interact. If there is not all the sequences are targets. Here you can see the protein induced binding is fit. The target is fit. So if the target is not associated with the topoisomerase properly, the cleaving is not being done. Now who dictates this target? It's basically the protein induced fit model. Basically it's the DNA. Generally they take again the AT rich region in the DNA as a target, where they melt the DNA or degrade the DNA or destroy the DNA in the middle. But in this case of topoisomerase mediated DNA nick and sealing, there is no loss of nucleotides, no generation of overhangs, blunt end is created, blunt end is joined. Okay, but remember that if there is the target is not associated properly with the protein, generally this target depends on how the DNA is interacting to the topoisomerase structure. So structural stability to the topoisomerase, because topoisomerase is working in a structurally restricted DNA. So obviously the site that topoisomerase choose is definitely somewhat which is near, which is in the place of the supercoil, so that due to the cleavage the supercoil stress will be released. Otherwise the topoisomerase activity should be limited in locations. The whole DNA is not requiring the topoisomerase to cleave. So there are only positions. So that's why there is induced fit structure of DNA, topoisomerase to bind to the DNA. Otherwise the topoisomerase just act as a endonuclease and cleave different parts of the DNA. It's not the idea. The topoisomerase is kept to only cleave the site of the DNA which is needed to be cleaved during the process of replication or transcription to release the stress.